Answer.
Hi.
There we go. How's that?
Oh, okay.
How are you all doing?
Yeah, it's a good day.
All right. Let me get my glass. Mama goes. She was in my spirit. I'm gonna call her tomorrow.
She told me that the church that she's volunteering is calling her to help in a summer class.
Hi.
Hi. In the summer class in the church. So now we class Monday to Friday. Okay. But she said, I don't want to be here the whole day, you know. Then they said, oh, let's come.
Anybody have any questions before we get started?
No, I don't. Are you?
I'm okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
All righty.
She's just late.
I think she. I think she had to go back to the restaurant. Okay. We were waiting for Sister Williams, and then she turned around and drove off. So I think she had to go back to work.
Oh.
So it's okay. So we'll send her love. Thank you, Father, again, for just letting us come together. Thank you for just this wonderful day that you bless us with health and healing, to open up our hearts and minds to receive teaching with wisdom, love, and forgiveness, peace. We thank you. Open up our hearts. And we bless our neighbors, our neighborhood, those less fortunate ourselves. We thank you in Yeshua's name. Amen. Amen and amen.
And
All right. Today, we're going to talk about the mirror, not the song that Michael Jackson made, not the man in the mirror.
in the mirror, yes.
But we're talking about a different type of mirror. And we all do it. And you kind of see this more, especially in children. Because when you start teaching your children, they mimic you, don't they? Matter of fact, they'll mimic you so much that they will repeat words at the most awkward time when you don't want them to say those words. So children are a good example of this teaching, but we're gonna put it in this format. And the reason why we want to teach this is so we can be aware of it and understand how it's utilized. Because here's the thing, as you all learn this and I give you this information, go teach someone else. Matter of fact, if you have the email, change it around. Add your own into it if you want. If there's something that I missed on it, add on it. This is your lesson. You are free to change it, modify it, delete it. Hello, Anson. Everybody okay with that?
Yes. Yes.
I want all of you are teachers, so as you teach this, I want you to be comfortable teaching it. And if you're not comfortable teaching it and learning it, then it will be very difficult for the recipient to receive it and practice it themselves to wake up. Does that make sense?
Yes.
All right. We're going to start. Any testimonies real quick? Any testimonies, any by the ways?
It has been very calm, and yeah. So we are in the process of getting ready for our trip to Asia, right? So there's some admin work that I have to do. So I was playing with the system, and his expression, and he said that, you know, you hack into their system.
Not really hack. Is that you can bypass some things, you can, you know.
Yeah.
I kind of said, okay, let's try and do it this way and see what the system is going to say. And the system says, okay.
Is that okay?
It says, okay, so it's like, it's supposed to be a date input. So somehow they did not check that the date that she put in has not happened yet. So it's kind of like asking you, when did you finish high school? We put the day after today, and yet they still accept.
So there's some of the problems, some of the control that is not in the system yet.
Yeah.
So I happened to stumble on it, and then I took advantage of it. So now I'm thinking, how am I going to explain myself
Later on.
No, it's actually no. Actually, the day I think the computer thought that it was the calendar date instead of the lunar.
No, they all have Chinese dates inside.
Oh.
See how powerful you are, what you created?
Yeah, so it's just that the system did not check that entry cannot be later than today. They did not do that check. That's all.
So it's going to go back and forth.
Only Lily can break that, right?
Of course.
I think they didn't know, so there's a flaw.
Yeah, so now I'm going to go back and say, you know what? When I put in that day, your system should prevent me from processing.
Right.
But since you don't, I go ahead.
Right.
Yeah,
That's their fault, yeah.
It's a flaw.
So now you help them fix a system that was broken.
Yeah, kind of. Mm-hmm.
Exactly. Congratulations, then. That's great.
Okay, so Pastor Meekins was sharing with me that I actually can drive around the neighborhood and bless the neighborhood.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And
But that's the thing, right? You want the placebo effect. Is that people thought that the neighborhood people is going to come out and work with you and say, you know what? Some Asian woman came and blessed the community.
But what you do is you drive through the neighborhood and you see the beauty in every single thing that you can see in that drive.
so I told Pastor Meekins, I shared with him that at the first place, I didn't see anything wrong with that neighborhood.
That's why you get in there. We'll be stupid. It will be very stupid to see something is wrong and you jump right in, Melissa.
You see, that's what she said. You see, how come we unknowingly go into that?
Because you're there to bless it.
That's the whole idea. That's the whole idea. The universe is also very sneaky.
When we say, and I don't think everybody understands this, when we say every place that you shall walk upon, go, wherever your physical body is, every place your feet land on, we've given you power over that place. It's not a coincidence that we send you there to a bad place to make it good.
No, Pastor. But that's why.
So now it's Melissa's duty to make that place good.
Absolutely. Think about this. They were playing loud music, and you sent love, and the music started going down. Right? That was your story, not mine.
I think right now is that maybe we still don't know about the effect of our presence. Okay, so just let her do whatever, just culture.
Drive through there and just love that place, just smile.
Drive her.
When I went and did the oil was for the people. I didn't need the oil. The oil was something tangible because they needed to see something tangible to believe in.
Mm-hmm.
They wouldn't have believed me walking down the middle of the street like a crazy man speaking words.
Mm.
That's why I was telling Melissa she should do that. Okay, walk around in the neighborhood, be it with your water or your oil or whatever, or your incense, smoke or whatever. Just walk around and do some chanting and say, you know what, I want to bless this neighborhood. I feel so loved here and blah, 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 blah. Just come on, man. Do it in Chinese.
Absolutely. You can do it. You can do it in universal language.
Yeah.
Love speaks all languages. Even if you chant love in Chinese, it's the same effect. Same effect if a person says love in Russian and a person says love in Chinese, and they come together not knowing each other's language, but they come together and say love, power explodes.
So how many times do I have to do it?
When you feel it. You decide.
When you're up to it, master.
Okay, here's how it works. When you're wanting something, you learn to be in a good place of neutrality. When you're in a place of neutral, you are meditating and getting into the vibration of what you're desiring, and then you will be inspired to go. The voice of love will move you into the action. Oh, this thing.
So you will meditate.
Yeah.
But then you have to get into that mindset. But don't do it out of, oh, I need to bless this neighborhood because I need to sell a house.
that is ulterior motive.
You get what I'm saying? That's the wrong. You have to say, I'm blessing this place because these people need a better environment. They need a better look. They need a better scenario. They need, you see what I'm saying?
So how to attract from people from outside to go into that neighborhood?
Just be love. Law of attraction. You remember when I did the universal laws? The law of attraction? When you emit love, what comes back to you?
Love.
Nobody comes and hate and fight you. When you were loving on the music turned down because nobody was resisting. And you didn't have to go over there and, hey, I know this is a festival or whatever y'all doing. Can you turn it down? I got a client that's trying to buy the house and you're messing me up. Not that you would say that, but but you sent them love. Look how small it was. You sent them love out of desire for your client. Right? I want my client to be happy, so I want to influence this portion, this small portion. You take that same attitude, same vibration when you're in that mode of remembering it and drive through that place and just love that. Does anybody know what a crack house is? Drugs.
Yeah.
They have called me into Long Beach, California years ago to bless crack houses in Long Beach from 10th Avenue to 21st.
Oh, wow. That's a long.
And every crack house that I blessed from then to this day is gone, and there's new development housing there. That crack houses had been there 15 years before I got there.
How many times did you do that? How many times did you bless the house?
One time.
Only one time.
I don't have that much time to be doing all that.
I don't know.
That's what cards are for. There's multiple ways of doing it. You could sit in your office and do it. You don't have to physically be there unless you want to be.
Okay, see, this is the thing, Pastor. All right. You know, I have to pass my flyers to the neighbors, you know, telling them, hey, there's a house for sale around here. You know, anybody who wants to buy a house.
Did you bless the flyers?
Yeah, bless the flyers and give up.
The flyers, and every person who gets this flyer, whether they throw it on the ground, throw it in the trash, is going to be blessed.
I wrote love.
All right, then that's all you need.
Okay, I wrote love. I have not got any response yet.
You will.
Because the house behind it.
You know why? Because people kept saying it's a bad neighborhood.
The house behind it was ugly. The house in the corner was ugly.
No, the house in the back was pretty. The house in the front was pretty.
So I sent the letter to the owner.
About the pretty house?
Yeah, I said, hey, are you thinking of selling? My house is just behind you. I just sold it to a buyer, and I have left overflow buyers. Then They have not responded to me yet.
And they will. But stop calling it an ugly house.
now their house become ugly because my house is good looking now.
It is a good looking house.
Yeah.
It still has a foundation. It still has plumbing. It still has electricity. It's a good house. It's been designed to last 20 more years. It's a good house. Just because you don't like the exterior of it, you don't have to live in the house.
Now I was thinking I want to purchase it to improve the neighborhood.
That's how you do it. You see how the vibration feels? You have to, when I say drive through the neighborhood, you have to be in the vibration of love. You have to be loved. You have to be so much in love with that place that you don't see anything, not even the weeds, not even the trash, nothing. Because here's what happens. We always teach about judgment, right? Let's play the game. Is that judging or not judging? It's an ugly house.
That's judging.
So if I judge the house, how can I ever desire for this to sell? I have to paint the picture first and say, yes. At first, yeah, it might look ugly. I thought that was the ugliest painting ever until I started looking and go, wow, there's some pretty cool colors. I never picked that. Why pick that? Yeah, that.
So he said share a random moment.
Yeah,
They have some meaning.
I first saw it, thought it was ugly.
Oh.
But you see my point. So get in that vibration. Anybody else? Yes? We on the road. All right, if not, mirror. What is mirror-like awareness? How does this help you? What is the energy of persecution? When we say the energy of persecution, that goes in the line of judgment also. When we judge, sometimes we feel persecuted or we're persecuting the ones that we're judging, okay? Remember I talked about the disc? And if there's a break in the disc, we're gonna say that break is persecution. So there's a dip when there's persecution, and a lot of us sometimes feel persecuted either toward a person, place, or a thing, okay? What is mirror learning? How can you mirror God? We always teach you are the mirror and the image of your creator. Whatever you want to call him, her, it, doesn't matter. You're in the image of it. Mirror-like awareness is what makes it possible to perceive reality without own conditional interpretation, colorings, and judgments. The mirror clarifies the view of reality, making it possible for you to cleanse the lens of your heart and mind. In order to do this, you have to do what first? Meditate, Pastor. So when I want to cleanse my heart and mind, I can't see the ugly house. Because if I see the ugly house, then what is the house next to it? Yeah.
It's good.
And then the house after that, yeah.
Oh.
And then the house over there, yeah. I start picking things out, right?
Mm-hmm.
This all culminates in you polishing the mirror of your soul and the reflection that are created in your relationships. The mirror reflects what we see and judge in others is in truth how we see and judge our own selves. The mirror asks us to look at our illusions, our projections, and asks us to own and correct our misperceptions and judgment that we project outside onto the others and the world. In other words, we don't want you to look at anything in judgment. We want to remove any type of judgment whatsoever. Well, Pastor, I need to judge something. No, you don't. Because as soon as you judge it, you separate yourself from it. And then it would void out us saying we are one. You can't be one if there's a judgment there. The mirror works with the essential misidentification of the personality with the soul, the ignorance that the soul believes to be the truth in which it follows faithfully until it experiences or is taught otherwise. Can somebody read part 2? Persecution.
Persecution. This mirror is summed up beautifully in the 8th Beatitude. Blessed are they who are persecuted for righteousness' sake, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Everything on earth plane works in reverse. Often what we see is not what appears to be. And only by reversing the perception of what is apparently happening can we find the truth of what is actually happening. Truth actions are often the reflection, the inverse to what is happening on earth. This is why the double-sided pyramid pointing down and the other pointing up, each reflecting the other in a diamond shape, is such a crucial geometry for understanding the laws of relationships between heaven and earth, as above, as beneath.
Everybody understand that?
Yeah.
Right. That is part of the dichotomy that we talk about. As within, as without.
Okay. Perception plays a vital role in evolution to a point. When you are judged, scandalized, or shunned by others, this projected energy can actually be used through the awareness of the mirror to empower you to new levels of peace, centeredness, compassion, and understanding.
So what we teach you here is how to use that energy, how to use that negative energy positively.
Yeah.
How to convert it. Because you can't destroy energy. Energy can only be what?
Transform. Yeah.
Transform, right? So we teach you how to transform the judge, scandalize, shun, those type of things into what works conducively for you.
Here, the perceived injustice or worst thing to happen to us turns out to be the best fuel for evolution. Disruption becomes opportunity, judgment becomes healing, chaos becomes opening, anger becomes bliss, and destruction becomes peace. The energy of persecution can help anchor love within you in a challenging yet undeniable way as a lived, felt experience. The persecution attempted by others is an opportunity given to deepen one's connection to self and to demonstrate in thought, words, and action that you are established peace in self. In the persecution, one is given a palpable choice to live through peace rather than get ensnared by the hooks of ego and judgments and expectations of others.
Everybody understand that? In other words, when persecution happens, you always hear me say, rejoice in trouble. Trouble.
Okay.
Because you change that energy.
Yeah, I have to change that. Okay. Persecution is an experience that tests where you think you are at in your evolution and grounds you into recognizing your reflection, your creation, and your responsibility in healing. Anything that you need in order to be whole. The unenlightened will always try to knock down the enlightened, to try to find fault, to try to judge what they do not understand based on the personality's concepts and ideas about what enlightenment is or what it should look like.
So this is why we always teach, don't worry about what people say about you. Who cares? You are divine and unique, and that's what makes you whole. But if you take other people's opinion that might not resonate with who you are, now, oh, I don't look pretty enough. Oh, I'm not good enough. Oh, I'm not worthy. Then you start building up a certain mind and a certain energy, and we create persecution upon ourselves sometimes. Sometimes people persecute, and sometimes we persecute ourselves.
Okay.
Conversely, but similarly, those who find success in worldly pursuit in gaining wealth, power, and fame are also judged and envied by others who want what they have. It is energy of envy itself that persecutes and judges others in the mirror, as well as fear.
You understand?
Yeah. So being too successful is also a certain type of persecution sometimes.
Well, what they're saying is, because I'm a millionaire, people want what I have, but they don't want to work to get it. So they become envious and jealous of it.
Yeah, jealous.
Then when I say, here's how you do it, here's how you can start a business with market affiliating and go from step 1 to step B, C, D, F. And I say, okay, if you can figure this out, I'll help you out, but they don't want to go do the work. So then here it is, they judge me and they want what I want. Then when I don't share when they're in financial trouble, then I'm stingy or greedy or uncompassionate.
Okay. So so will their negative energy affect us?
Nope, not unless you let it.
Okay.
Only if you let it. That's why you always hear me again say the affirmation, I'm created as my Father created me to be, I am free, and nothing sources my experience but me in each moment. And nothing whatsoever affects me except for that which I choose to allow to affect me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because
so sometimes like even our family members, like, you know, for me, I would tend to listen to what my mom would tell me, right? So it would affect me sometimes. So it's just because I let her.
Right, absolutely. And a lot of it goes with culture. A lot of it goes with, I don't want to be disrespectful. I don't want to say the wrong thing to offend. And we normally get victimized by what they're saying, even though they're trying to help.
Yeah. Well, they did it out of love, I'm sure, but it's just that it's not applicable for me right now.
Exactly.
It's the wrong way of love.
And again, just like all parents, they don't want to let go. It's still a control thing. All parents want to control their children instead of being caregivers. So even when they get up in age and you're grown and have your own children and they have your grandchildren, guess what? You're still their child.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You will never know more than your parents as long as they're living.
All right.
Yeah. Okay.
They are always 20-some years ahead of us.
Exactly. Oh, when I was your age, I did the same thing.
Yeah. Yes.
There's nothing new under the sun. So what we do is we say, you know what? Just like you just said, I'm pretty sure they're saying this out of love. Because that's the only way that they were taught and the only way they was expressed. Especially as a culture, especially as things that we create and put into place in terms of family. So that you just take it with a grain of salt. Hey, I'll get back. When they say things, oh, I love you. What can they say with that? Oh, you're being sarcastic.
She said, you having a fever?
You have a fever. I have a fever for love, mommy. I have a fever for love. But don't take those perceptions personally, because at the end of the day, they really do love you. And that's just their expression of trying to help. They just, at the end of the day, they want to see the best for you.
Yes. Yes.
That's all. And it just comes across sometimes harsh. My mother sometimes would come across harsh, and sometimes it was very loving. And sometimes I had to say, okay, this is not applicable to me, but thank you. Nod and grin.
Okay.
All right?
All right.
Okay.
Here, the trick of the mind to continue to survive in a duality is to project out its faults onto others. Fighting and blaming the outside world, relationships, governments, partners, and even God for its own misperceptions, making others responsible for the stress and suffering in its life. Through its projection.
This is the blame game.
Yes.
The portion of the blame game.
Through its projection, the mind only hears others through filters of its own thoughts, experiences, beliefs, and conditionings, losing the state of openness that enables us to be present with each person for who and what they are. One way to overcome this externalizing, projecting aspect of the mind is to own it by reversing it. Through honesty, ultimately, you notice that everything you judge or label is yourself. Each time you judge another, change you into an I, and you will see how much you are putting yourself down. You are merely my projection, my own self-image painted onto you. I am the very thing I judge you to be.
Absolutely. Let me read something real quick to you.
Yeah.
I asked a question when I was meditating one day. What was the difference between judging and choosing? Judging separates us. Choosing is an awareness that a person or belief does not resonate with you any longer. Sometimes choosing might feel like you're judging. Ask her what is true and choose not to, We can accept others as they are. We can choose. Does that make sense? In judging someone, they persecute themselves. Throughout, honestly, ultimately, you notice that everything you judge or label is another in what? Yourself. Each time you judge another, change the you into an I, and you will see how much you are putting yourself down. You become everything you what? Judge. Does that make sense? The ultimate goal is to teach us not to judge anything. Zero. No judgment. Okay? Integrating self-mastery, self-empowerment, and co-creation and humility instead of pride enables one to state, I and my Father are one, rather than the dark suppressing the light or the light shielding the darkness. One can be powerful and pure, stable in the power that you have as you know it only for the benefit of all. When we say once you benefit, your cup overflows and you can benefit others. That makes sense? The split that can occur in the mirror of awareness means a person can become two different people. Honest one minute, lying the next, covering up the lie, unconscious to hide the part of them that is wounded. One can be a bright light in 1 minute and a lying deviant the next. We know people like that all the time, right?
Yeah.
The person suffering this cannot even remember the unconscious state as it was a totally different mind functioning then. He or she can cover up these states through intellectual or emotional manipulation and reasoning, just like a lawyer or politician can use facts and spin them any way to suit their point of view, or in the case, to validate their split. It is mainly through loving, uncompromising, and honest relationship that these splits can be highlighted and healed so that one can become truly empowered to give in and move on to become a master rather than a perpetual disciple. Everybody understand that? So at the end of the day, we go back to what? Love. Practice how to love. So hopefully everybody's still practicing the unconditional love. Hopefully you never stopped it. If not, then practice it more. Mirror learning. This is kind of science, but you'll get it. Another evolutionary aspect of the mirror forms a key part of our ability to learn quickly, a key trait. The mirror of the mind has a biological basis in the brain in what's called mirror neurons. Mirror neurons enable us to imitate the movement of others, thereby liberating us from the constant and pure gene-based evolution. How many times have all of us imitated our teachers, parents, leaders, heroes, heroines, because we wanted to be like them? I wanted to be like Bruce Lee, man. That was my dude. First time I saw it, done. It wasn't Superman, it wasn't Spider-Man, it wasn't none of that. That was really impressive to me. But how many times do we copy the mannerism and language of those we love, respect, and admire? All the time.
All the time.
All the time we do it. Mirror neurons work through imitation. Anytime you watch someone else doing something or even starting to do something, a corresponding mirror neuron can fire in your brain, thereby allowing you to read, understand, and respond to another in an ever-increasing exponential feedback loop. Mirror neurons enable us to mimic and understand movements of others, which in turn provide opportunities for rapid learning and language evolution. In effect, mirror neurons suggest we pretend to be in another person's mental shoes, providing a basis for understanding, mind reading, psychic powers, empathy, and imitative learning. So what we mean by that is when people come into your sphere, you can read their energy. You know if they're lying or if they're honest. You feel it you feel it. Even though they look okay, they might be smiling, but you're going, oh man, something's wrong with this person. You just feel that, okay? Sound provides a key to this. For example, if you closely watch someone chanting or praying, the mirror neurons in your brains can actually mimic internally and silently what they are chanting and praying at the same time. When you hear me say, you guys are bright lights or you're dim, when you're chanting or praying, when we say that, meaning whatever vibration you're emitting over and over and over, whether it be worry, that's considered a chant. That's considered a prayer. Do y'all realize that? So you have to be worried about, you have to be conscious about what you're chanting and what you're praying about in the vibration. Because if you're not in that place of positive vibration of praying and chanting, you're going to receive everything that's negative.
So let's say if we went into chanting for somebody who is sick, but we are very worried about this person, it's not good for.
Not going to happen. You will not see a response in that person, period. Because
okay, we will not see a response, not that he will die.
He might die if that's his contract.
My God!
That's
you see, this is the thing. It's difficult to be in that emotion. The emotion.
We can say ourselves neutral. We can. We just didn't know. We were just worrying about him, and then we start chanting for him, right? So we should actually meditate and calm ourselves down, wipe clean. Then we do it.
Yeah.
Then it works. Because when you're chanting, you're looking at, I'm chanting at a problem, I'm chanting at a problem.
More problem.
Yeah.
In our world, as masters, we don't have problems, we are solutions.
Well,
This is the thing, okay? We are practicing, but we have not perfected yet. So that's why for you to be in that mood, like, usually it has to be full of love.
You have to see that person whole.
You see that person is like no sickness.
Yep. Here in America, a lot of pastors, Christian pastors from a lot of religious, recently, today's Monday, Sunday, Friday, I was talking to one of the pastors, and he said one of his members has stage 4 nose cancer, and they've been praying and praying and praying, and nothing happened. I said, well, would it be okay if I went to pray? Oh, Pastor, we would love for you to go pray. We know when you pray, she's going to get healed. His exact words. Not to pump me up, but to teach them how to do it. They went praying and chanting, oh, Lord, please don't let her die. Does that sound like positive or worry?
Negative.
Exactly. So anything like that is not going to work.
Oh my dear, he's suffering. Oh my dear, help him, he's suffering. Oh my God, man.
And even when you say that, it doesn't feel good to you, does it?
Yes.
Oh, it doesn't even feel good when you say that word, even though your intentions are good, those words don't even feel good to you because you don't even believe those words.
Yeah, this is the thing about us, because we still look at form. You see, if you see somebody lying in front of you who is very bleeding, you can see stitches, big stitches and all that, or hole here, hole there, bleed here. Can you say the person don't look?
People freak out.
Yeah.
People freak out because they don't believe in the power. They don't understand it because it has not been taught to them.
So I think we have to practice to see soul, spirit.
So even with the woman that was dead, the husband called me. Everybody went and prayed for her. She was technically in a coma, but they were going to pull the plug. To me, if you pull the plug, you're not alive.
Of course.
So everybody came and prayed for her, and he called me, Pastor, God told me to call you. I said, well, I'll tell you what, give me 3 days. In his mind, he went, 3 days? She might be dead in 3 days. But I had to get right myself.
See?
Before going. I just couldn't, I'll be right there and hang up.
We cannot.
So I had to get my mind right, really fall in love with her. It took me a minute to fall in love with her. To just fall in love with her. Well, I didn't see anything other than love. So when I got there, everybody experienced the miracle. Rochelle's husband experienced that miracle. Her feet start twitching. Her eyes opened. The same day, She was in a coma for 3 months. That same day, she woke up. 4 hours after I left, she woke up. They monitored for another 4 hours, and they took her from ICU into a regular hospital, into a regular room. 2 days later, they released her. 2 weeks later, she was back at work. And to this day, the doctors still don't know what was wrong with her.
This is the problem with us. Just like
Yeah.
we cannot see past form. We cannot.
Yes.
So we have to learn, Master Lee. We just have to learn.
This whole teaching is a love teaching.
Yeah.
It's a love teaching, but if we teach you love, it's a releasing of all the perceptions that you built. So when we're praying for people, we're not praying, oh, get the cancer off of him, get the cancer off of him, get the cancer off of him. No, that'll never work. People like that, I put out of the room. I put them out.
Oh, they say
Get
it,
out.
they say it. Oh, yeah.
Even their energy, if I feel their energy off, I put them out. Because that energy would disrupt the work. We're that much influence on each other. Remember, I always say you can walk into a room, and if there's tension in the room, you can physically feel that tension. And automatically you start looking for who that person is.
Pastor, okay, when I walk into that house, I see graffiti and everything. Oh, I tell myself, oh, it's only graffiti, okay? It's easily can be fixed. We just paint it over and that's it, okay? So, all right, nothing much, you know? Not that they put a hole in every wall, you know? And then the next thing I saw was, you know, the patio door that is like lying against the wall is out of anybody's way. It's out of anybody's way, and they have to break it. It's very nasty, you know. So immediately my mind said, who is so evil, you know, to do that? He's here to destroy. So I cannot go past that, you know.
Right. But this is what this teaching does.
You see, I cannot pass that. Then I continue to say, and then my mind continue to think,
but look, okay, watch this. Notice what she said. You went from looking at all the bad stuff, and we agreed that it's bad. Yes? Yes, all bad.
Yes.
But look where your mind immediately went. Who could be this evil? You went to an individual person to find the problem. When this can be fixed, this can be fixed, this can be fixed, and we can put some alarm system up and the house will be safe. Why look for the person? It's done and over. Don't look for the who. Why ask the question, who could be so evil to do this? Who cares? It's already done. Move past it by saying, you know what? They're not here right now in this very moment, and this stuff can be fixed and replaced. Just like you were doing, the walls can be painted. So instead of saying, why would they break this? This has to be replaced also. It's a checklist.
so it's more cost.
That's okay. It's going to cost anyway. It's going to cost one way or the other. Right?
But if it didn't happen, then we don't have to come up with more costs, you see?
It's okay.
That's it.
It's okay. Say it's okay. Say it's okay. It's okay.
No.
Because they're going to make up the cost. What's the price of owning the house? Think about it. Are they there for short-term or long-term? If their goal is long-term, 30-year, that little small payment at the end of 30 years is sufficient. Make that thing up and move on and not even worry about that thing 5 years later. Okay. And guess what? If they pay their mortgage, the mortgage is going to do what? Go up and down, up and down, up and down.
Anyway, if I think we can view it such that it happens now, so we put in the things so that to prevent the in the future where you have even more stuff that can be stolen when that thing happens. So it might as well happen now when before there are a lot of things that can be taken away. So after that, we start to do all the preventative measures that we can put in, and then those things never happen in the future, because in the future there will be more stuff at home. You'll be have television sets, you will have, and all those things. So that right now is to prevent something that is even costlier in the future.
Right. But then here's the thing, also a great point. But also think about it like this. Look at these things that we value. They're gonna and maybe I'm crazy, but I always ask, what is this thing gonna look like in 100 years?
Nothing. It's useless.
It's useless.
Something like that right now. Something like that.
So, and then I think if they steal it and you got insurance, they're gonna pay you back anyway. That's why you pay insurance for homeowners.
Mm.
So why am I gonna complain about these things?
Mm.
To me, that doesn't make no sense. I'm gonna pay car insurance. Oh, I hope nobody steals my car. I'll leave that engine running. Take that thing. Think about that. You put all these security systems on it, all these things, and then 5 years later, you get rid of the thing. And you start over. Insane. Makes no sense.
Yes.
So how you get past it is you have to get past it by looking past that.
I think for Melissa right now is that she's very good in doing the numbers, and she's still running the numbers, not letting it go. But you have to see that sometimes in life there are certain expenses you have to pay.
Absolutely.
And pay is a small cost. Means that in the future you're going to make up for it. So don't worry about it. It's just that right now, yes, this thing is all expenses, and more expenses.
Right. And at the end of the day, you all tell your customers you have to have twice as much as the mortgage. So that should automatically be included in what they're saying. True?
No, the business people immediately count the profit. The investor already start telling me, okay, now our expenses increase, so what will be our return of investment?
And that's great, because that's where you can create from. You can say, I'm glad y'all said that, but here's what I'm gonna do. I've done it so many times, it's too easy. Too easy.
So what do you do? What do you do?
I decree what I want. 5 steps. Everybody forgets about the 5 steps. You got to go back to the 5 steps. But in the 5 steps, where did you meditate in the 5 minutes before the 5 steps? Maybe I should say, step 1 is meditate for 5 minutes. Step 2 is ask. Step 3 is God's job. Because you got to get in that mindset.
Yeah, so this is what we do, right? These days, what we do is we go into meditation, right? And then hopefully intuition will come to us, to help us.
Right.
The direction where to go, what to do.
And you'll get it.
And sometimes, no, these days it's very peaceful.
Good. You know what?
Because we don't have to think too much.
Peace. If you notice, everything in here was what about what? Peace. Peace.
Correct. But you see, when it's peace, there's nothing coming in. So we do not know what to do.
This is what you're mistaken. When you're at peace, everything is allowed to you because there's no resistant thinking.
So you can do whatever you want.
Absolutely. But you can't go, I'm at peace, but who in the world, evil person, would break that door? How dare they? Am I in peace?
No, of course, we don't do that.
You can't, in other words, you can't have 2 thinkings. I'm either going to think about the evil person who broke the door, I'm going to be at peace. And when I'm at peace, then I see a beautiful door that's already made. I look at the beauty of this painting now.
Pastor, Pastor, wait a minute, okay? A few months ago, all right, I asked how much I should sell this house. So the number come in. okay, 376. 376,000. Okay, I'm going to sell that for 376,000. And then, obviously, now we have more costs, which is okay. The investor is paying.
When it came in, see, here's where you have to shift the thinking, and this is where it's hard for people to do. When the investor sent it in, you saw the numbers and went, I have to sell this number, didn't you? You say yes, Pastor.
Yeah.
Okay, see, you should have went, I'm glad they sent me this number, but I'm gonna sell this number at 247,000. But Pastor, it says 346,000. I know that, but I'm saying 246,000 because that's what I'm believing for, and this is what we're gonna get. Because how often does the market change? All the time.
So that's the reason why. If not, then the profit.
Don't make it hard. You're looking at and here's what we're saying. We're not saying ignore the facts. The facts are the facts. We're not saying not to ignore the facts. What we're saying is, can the numbers change?
Yeah.
Yes.
So don't put all the value in the solidity of that number. I went and bought cars that were $55,000 and walked away with $45,000 car. And the man's going, I just gave you the shirt off my back for this car. How am I gonna feed my kids? The sales pitch. Was that a rock solid number? No. What happens in 3 months if the house don't sell? Is that number still gonna be the same, or is it gonna fluctuate based on the percentage rate?
Yeah.
Pastor, that's why I do not want the price to come down. If not, then how am I going to validate? I mean, how am I going to validate myself, my service, my client?
By your love. Are you doing the best for them?
Yes.
That's all you can do. That's all you can do. What more can you do outside of that?
You have no control of the market now.
None.
You can only do slightly better than the market value, and it all depends. And I think if your investor, he is wise enough, he should know that you already done the best. You already did your best.
Absolutely. And then this is again where you have to find happiness in that number and not go, oh my God, I got to sell this $346,000 house. So now you put pressure on yourself, didn't you?
Yeah, and she's doing all the numbers all the time.
Now there's the pressure of this number, and this is where sales and marketing come in, where you have to. This is good for what you do because this is a perfect place to master because you're a master of numbers.
Yeah, she is.
You're a master of numbers. This is your world. As long as you put 100%, that's all Melissa can do, and that's all that anybody else can answer. If that's the best you can do, so be it. Make sense? And don't be sad about it.
No, I'm not sad, but you see, you say that as the process, right? So you ask. So I ask, let's say I put the number, I say, okay, I'm going to sell this house for at that price.
Okay.
X number of price, X number. And then how I can make that happen in a emotion of love, right?
How do you get into believing what you're asking for? That's the real secret. How do you get into believing what you're asking for? How do you get into believing that you're asked? How do you get into that emotion other than trying to fake it and say it? See, that's the going past heal the cancer, pay the bill. Go past that. Go past that. You have to work it different ways. I don't know how to, it's a practice. It's a practice.
Okay, so this is the thing that I'm confused, okay? Okay? That area, that neighborhood, I just knew that neighborhood is not a good neighborhood. Okay. less than a mile, like half a mile, there's this nice neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
You know how when you do your marketing strategy, you know, you get a statistic, you know,
Mm-hmm.
you get the numbers from around that neighborhood, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the number is good.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it's supported.
Mm-hmm.
But here we are, okay, 1 block away from that street,
Mm-hmm.
somebody is selling the house at a like cheaper, less expensive. But of course, you cannot compare the house.
Here's
right?
what we're gonna do. I'm gonna show y'all a miracle. I want you to do like Sister Williams, and you're gonna call me during this week about this house. And we're gonna have a talk. And I'm gonna say, like I told you last time, but I don't want you to go long. I just wanna say, Pastor, give me simple words this week. You agree? Do you agree?
I called you and
You call me this week, and I'm gonna show you a miracle. I'm gonna show you how to get this thing done. Can we agree?
yeah.
All right, y'all my witness, right?
Yeah.
You call me this week, and we're gonna work this thing out for you. I'm gonna show you how this is done. Bold, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
But it's too easy. It's too easy. Sister Williams tapped in so easy, and the car, what else did she had? Her son's graduation and everything. Too easy. She even said, I wasn't even dressed properly to go. You remember?
Graduation, yes.
And I told her, when I told you to decree what you want, you should have been done your hair and your nails and all that stuff. And even when I told her, she doubted on the way up. She gets there and her son is fully gowned and walks across for both his major and with his class. And he got 12 no's. I'm saying 12, but everybody told him from the administrative that he wasn't going to graduate and he wasn't going to walk because of whatever reason. Impossible. He begged and pleaded these people, whatever happened, blessed him, and he walked. In her mind, she's going, this is impossible. The numbers are not adding up. Our job is not to figure it out. Our job is to decree it, believe it, ask it, and don't worry about it. This is what I want, and this is why I want it. And be so bold about it that there is nothing that can take you off of it. Nothing should be able to shape you or move you for what your desire is. So when it comes in, okay, when I was a recruiter, right before I left, and we all work with numbers, so I understand when you say market strategy where you have to go, for us, our market was 18-year-old to 21-year-old, male, female, primarily male, for military service, right? So I had to do my market analysis. They put me in Los Angeles in the hood, ghetto. When I say that, that means the education level is very low, but they wanted my numbers to be where they wanted them to be at a certain mental QT. Number-wise, it looked poor. I'm going, nobody here is passing the test. Statistically, when I went in my first month, I wrote 6 contracts and every last one of them were over the mental mark. And they went, how'd you do that? The second month, I wrote 5. The third month, I wrote 4. I think I hit 1 month where I just struggled really bad and put in 2 people and only 1 went. You see my point? But everybody around me was saying, we're missing goal. We're missing our numbers. What are you doing different? They thought that I was even cheating, that they did an investigation on me.
Wow.
And I didn't get offended. Didn't do anything wrong, so why get offended? Look what you want. Every day I would decree, I'm going to put in this amount of person, and I would not let anything come off of this. I would have people that would take the test that would score low on the practice test, and I would test them, and they would score. And I would go, what? So you have to learn to practice. It's a practice. Make sense?
Mm.
All right. So let's get down to page 6 on the practice, because everybody gets the mirror neurons, correct?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
All right, simple practice. As I told you all, as we teach you the way of transformation, there's a lot of exercises we want you to practice. That way, as you begin to teach this to others, as learning yourself, you're learning this. That way, when you're asking these questions on, okay, Pastor, when these numbers come in, how do I sell these houses? How do I make my numbers and have the rest of the month off? Because that's what I used to do. So a simple practice, and this all goes back to, again, meditation. Sit in a comfortable position and allow the body mind to deeply relax. Breathe into the lower belly. Okay, anybody know what the chakras are? The endocrine systems, okay? When we say manifest, or when we say manifest, all your manifestations come from your solar plexus. Everything. This is where your power comes from, within your belly, per se. Everything. So when you're in that believing and you're meditating, this is why we say take deep breaths, as deep as you can, to fill that up. Okay? What it does is it slows everything down and calms everything. It puts you in that place of neutrality, and it puts you in that place of peace. When you're in that place of peace, now you silence the mind. You don't think about nothing. Zero. Meditate on just this. I and my Father are one. I and my Father. Here's why we want you to just stick there. Not that anything else is wrong. You can meditate anything you want, but when we want you to be dependent on the Creator, because He's step 2. If you can be one with Him, then you're automatically in step 2 with Him. Mm-hmm. The simple way to do it is put yourself there. Me and God are one. However you want to say it. Whatever title you want to put on it. Me and myself are one. We don't care. We won't offend. Okay? Say it 3 times. Even when y'all pray and chant, everybody knows that repetition does what? It creates energy. The reason why we say when you pray and chant, you have to be in the believing of what you're praying and chanting for. You have to become that of what you're asking for. And people don't know how to become that which they're asking for. Mm-hmm. And this is the practice where we want you to get into doing. So ask this question within. What is the worst thing that has ever happened in my life? And notice and feel what arises in your body. We want you to do that because we want you to release those feelings and those energies. Okay? Ask, how has this deeply impacted my life? Remain with the breath and observe what arises with curiosity. Ask, what is the jewel that I learned from this situation that I can never have experienced otherwise? When you're going through things, you have to accept you created that reality. That's why we always say you're the creator of what? Your reality. You're the creator of your experience. Everything that you experience, you brought into your experience to do what? Experience it. Okay? Notice we always say the body mind. So when we say experience it, you feel it in your body. That's your gauge. That's your gauge. That's your meter. Kind of like if you get scared, you know, okay, I need to get out of fear. Okay? Find the one jewel, say thank you to it, and the situation or the person for this. Say within, if it were not for this, from this experience, however bad it seemed, I would not have learned, found, met, moved. Fill in whatever that jewel is. In your case, it's the what? Fill in that jewel. The house, the numbers, the broken door, the graffiti on the wall, that's this. You understand? Not really?
No, show practice. Show it to us how you do this.
Meditate.
Yeah, you see, from the stomach, we don't breathe from the stomach, do we?
Yes.
When
Everybody-
we meditate, we do that or not?
No, actually, when the baby was born, human by nature actually breathe from the stomach. But as we grow older, we tend to breathe from the lung.
Yes.
From the chest. You see, if baby newborn, when they breathe, it's not the chest that goes up and down, it's the tummy that goes up and down.
Yep. The whole.
Yeah. So
you have to relearn to breathe. That's
Yeah,
why.
you have to relearn back.
And it's a practice. And one of the things that I did that was very vigorous on breathing was very fast breathing for 10 minutes. Just very heavy. My head got very light.
I know. Yeah.
Got
Yes.
dizzy.
Yes.
But then the more I did it, the more I got back into that breathing. Now, when I muse and meditate, now the birds come because I know how to train my mind to go to that place. I know how to calm not only just the mind, but the body. So I'm connecting the mind, body, and the spirit to function as one. That's why if you notice, children aren't fearful. Babies are not fearful.
Mm-hmm.
Other than being what? Dropped.
They don't know.
And they don't know. You see what I'm saying? Other than what we teach them, and now we just taught them fear. Right? And now they're ruined for life.
Mm.
So
The parents think it was funny.
So when you're meditating, find different ways. Don't just do one way. Find different ways. I go outside. My best way, me personally, outside. Some people like indoors. Some people like sitting in, whatever works.
What's the third eye chakra? Where is it at?
Third eye chakra.
Oh.
Your third eye. That's your intuition.
Can we meditate when we're lying down? Because I feel that I'm very relaxed. I'm almost at the going to sleep, not sleeping, going to sleep, not sleeping.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Whatever's comfortable.
Yeah.
When we say sit comfortably, in other words, get what's comfortable to you. Whatever's comfortable to you. Whatever's relaxing. Whatever's going to stop the resistant thinking from thinking.
And I like it so much that very relaxed, and then when the time is up, I can sleep.
Right. And that's how you train your mind. So when you're wanting things, you automatically go into what do I want and why do I want it? Because you've trained your mind to get the body to vibrate it out.
Okay.
What you're looking for is that vibration of the feeling that you're desiring, but it's through the breath. That's why the breath is so important. The meditation is so important.
Okay.
If you get to 5 minutes, then you're good. What often appears to be the darkest hour is our greatest ally and empowering to realize God. Here's what we mean by that. When you're rejoicing in trouble, then it's easier to shift the energy, because now who does the work?
God.
You're releasing it and giving to him, because now he does the impossible. He can make that you think impossible possible. Everybody get it? Also, when chaos happens, it brings people together. When there's a terrorist attack, what do people do? They come together. Normally it's fear, but it's normally a coming together. But have you ever noticed, and this is not all the time, we could be wrong, but normally if you ever notice, there's always some fighting and bickering first, and then there's chaos, and then there's togetherness.
It's like there are opposite forces. So if the negative comes in, later on there'll be more positive.
Absolutely.
And then, but after the positive, there'll be a bigger negative. And then there'll be even bigger positive, right?
and the cycle. But then at the end of the day, the positive will consume the negative. Not that the negative will go away. The negative will never go away.
Mm-hmm.
That's still energy.
Yeah.
It's transformed into something different. That's all. So we're transformers. We're transformers of energy, but we use our mind and body. So what I do is teach you how to use the mind and body to do it. So when I'm healing people, it's going down to their cellular level that baffles the doctors that they can't understand it. Just like people chant over people that's really in alignment. Oh, well, great. If you ever see Buddhist monk who are really aligned and they're healing people, all they say is heal, 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 heal. All of a sudden something to click where they'll go, it's done, it's done, it's done, it's done, it's done. Simple as that. Because they have seen the wholeness of that person and not the sickness of that person. Speaking the healing to that part of the disease of the body. To the point where it's done, it doesn't even exist anymore. When doctors go in, they can't find any trace of it.
Not there yet.
Not there yet.
Yeah.
This is why it's important. This is why it's important to practice and read over it. Even go back to lesson 1, the way of the heart. Go back and study each lesson and practice each lesson. You're not going to get this in one day. You're not. Every situation is going to be different. It's kind of like this, and we'll close. I think I gave this scenario before, and might be a bad example, but kind of work with me. In martial art, let's say I can beat you up, and you can beat Lily up, and Lily can beat me up. Who wins? Now, tomorrow, we go to a different location. You beat me up, I beat Lily up, and she beats you up. Who wins? The next day, we go somewhere else. I beat Lily up, she beats you up, and you beat me up. You see? It's always changing. That is always the dichotomy that we always have to be aware of. Always. That is the apex that we talked about in the lesson. The diamond, above as beneath. Those are the mirrors. These mirrors that you call problems are the problems that you're creating within yourself. So my job is to teach you how to fix it. And it's a practice. And you all are doing very good. Think about the music. Go back to the music. It was so easy for you. I want the music to turn down. How long did it take?
Less than an hour.
Less than an hour. What was your feeling? Happy. Satisfied. Want to please my client.
I was concentrating on him. I just focusing on him, telling him, hey, I said, don't worry about that.
But you were still happy. You didn't judge it. You didn't condemn it. You didn't convict it. You didn't separate yourself from it. You just accepted it for what it was in that moment, and it was able to change. You all do it all the time. You're just not conscious of it. So now I'm just showing you how you're to be consciously aware of it. You're always creating, always. You're always doing 5 steps, always. Whether you deliberately do it or unconsciously do it, you're always doing the 5.
Yeah, some work, some don't. You see? And then the don't are the one that some is important for us. We put a lot of value on it. Sometimes, like others, no, because
it's not
whatever.
But see, if you take that attitude and get rid of it, you wouldn't have those problems. Because what you did was, I made a good pile and I made a bad pile. So now I have to judge these piles. And as I created these piles, I have to realistically play these piles out because I have these piles around me. So Melissa made the piles. Make two piles. What are they? Satisfied, not satisfied. Simple as that. Satisfaction brings it back to your body of a feeling, because everybody knows what satisfying feels like. So if we can train your mind to go back to what does satisfying feels like, then when you start looking at these things that you think are ugly or bad or evil, you won't see that.
Okay, last Saturday, my open house wasn't a success. So I was thinking, why this time is not a success? Nobody came. Even though I was so positive in my mind, I have already feel that a lot of people is gonna come.
Yeah, and then we all prayed for her.
Yeah, and then nobody came, except I would call my clients, you know, hey, come on, open house, blah, blah. They say, yeah, I'm coming. None of them come. Only one guy came, the neighbor. Said, hey, if you sell this house, my house is going to be next. But nobody came.
Because you look at the numbers.
Huh?
Do you look at the numbers?
No, I did not. I thought it was a very good price.
Okay.
Because I already did my numbers. I said, oh, this house is cheaper by 20,000. So I think when my clients come, I'm going to show them, you know, this is a good house. It's a newer house, blah, 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 bigger house, blah, 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 blah. Nobody came.
It's okay.
You know? So I was thinking, what didn't work? What didn't work?
I don't know.
You see? So this I'm thinking, what didn't work? Well, previous time, the other 2 times.
Isn't that
You
fun
know?
though? Isn't
You
that
know,
fun?
and this time I didn't say it wrong. I said, okay, I want buyers without agents.
Mhm.
Okay?
And it will happen.
Nobody came.
It'll happen. It will happen. Okay, we have to put this in and we're going to close. When we say the Weber relationship, if you are out of alignment with one thing, period, it messes up everything. Remember the disc? You create more discs. Okay, here's what happens. Is there any, okay, you're positive on the house. All get it. But if there's anything outside of that, it's going to disrupt this. This is where people don't understand, where I have to be peace across the board with everything and anything. Relationships, things that I think don't. Would you say these two are related? Would anybody say these two things are related? Are they related?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
But both of them are materials.
No, one is used to read the other.
But say it again.
Both are material.
They're both material, which means they're what? Subject to change.
Oh, okay.
In other words, what happens today? What happens if you did it tomorrow? What happens if you did it? You see what I'm saying? Just because it didn't work that time doesn't mean it didn't work.
I even, for that house, I was so positive. Even my client said, oh, it's too far. I said, no, it's not far. I go farm the way. I said, if you take this route, you know, it's less traffic, blah, 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 not going up here. I was so positive about it. Definitely. And then so I said, okay, I enjoy one myself with family. We both want to
Have a good time, right?
We have a good time.
So you had time with son.
Yeah.
So the prayer was answered.
You know?
Prayer answered. Say the prayer was answered.
Prayer was
Did the person come into the house? The neighbor.
the neighbor. Yeah.
Absolutely. He says, if you sell this house, my house is next.
Yes.
He helped with the prayer.
He already answered you. You're going to sell that house and then you're going to sell his house.
Hey, guess what he's going to do? He's going to help you sell the house.
No.
Yes. Hey, this is a good house.
No, he was saying that, hey, when you sell this house, okay, I said, no worry. By the end of my open house, I'm going to get offer. I was ready with even my offer. I was ready with the address and everything and the full price, 260, because I thought it was a good price.
It's going to work.
It was a good price.
Did the house sell? It's still on the market.
It's still in the market because my coworker has that listing, and I thought I was going to sell it for her because I have a few clients.
Okay, call me this week. We're gonna work.
Yes.
I gotta go to work. We're gonna go to work.
I'm going to make you.
Any questions for me? Thank you all. Have a blessed day.
We are good.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Bye.